Good evening, everyone. Happy Saturday. This is Mai, and welcome to another episode of Sustainabuzz here at Sustainable PH. So, in our show, we talk about a wide range of topics on sustainability in business. So, please do check out the other shows of Sustainable PH TV because we believe that anyone can practice sustainability, whether in your own career, business, daily life, and spiritual life. So, catch our different shows here on Facebook and YouTube. So, on to our episode for tonight. So, good evening again. And we are part of this episode, we'll talk about the heart of the business, which are the employees. So, in many reporting frameworks, actually, for business, they usually talk about the different capitals that you need para how do you make sure that you are creating value as a business. And one of these capitals, they say, is the human capital. But I prefer to not call this human capital, but really our people. So the people of the business are actually the drivers of a business success. And right now, as we see in COVID-19, the pandemic has become quite a litmus test for companies, no? To assess how they actually value their people amidst the pandemic. Because the people are the ones, the most valued resources of businesses to ensure that they can drive their goals, they can meet their they can deliver their strategy, and ultimately create sustainable value for the business. And for the past years, the job market is also evolving, and a critical part of this people aspect of sustainability is how do you actually attract talent who will help you grow your business. So now we have an expert to help us talk more about this. She's a career coach and talent consultant, the president and CEO of Metamorphosis Group, a career and development and empowerment firm that helps job seekers find new and more meaningful opportunities in their careers. So, Danica, good evening and welcome to Sustainable.
Hi, Mai. Good evening. Thank you so much for inviting me. Nice to be here.
Yes, so Danica, happy to see you again. So it's been a while since our last meet up. So Danica is a good
Last
friend
physical meetup. Yeah.
prior to COVID-19. No? So thank you for
Yes.
joining us. So I'm excited to talk to you now. Not that they were just classmates in school, but now you are our career expert, and I'm excited to learn more about how is actually the future of the workforce evolving. Being you're expert and you've been talking to a lot of job seekers, job hunters, and employers also. Maybe to start, we can talk more about you. So tell us more about what you do as a
Okay.
career coach and talent consultant.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So, as you know, I'm a career coach. I actually started doing human resources for a living. So, I entered into niches such as labor market intelligence, learning and development, talent acquisition, and now career development coaching. My biggest heart goes to talent acquisition because it helps you understand the needs of job seekers even more, and that gave me the opportunity to talk to them, right?
Mhm.
And what I learned about them is that despite being so talented, they couldn't land an opportunity in the companies that they want, and even in the other companies that they could have been qualified for, simply because they don't know how to do the job hunt exactly. They
Mhm.
don't know how to build their resume, they don't know how to speak in interviews, they don't know how to communicate their value or their vision for the company or for themselves or for their career. They don't know how to do all of that, those things. So I decided to start a company. At first, I was a freelancer here. I was a career coach. Then eventually, I decided to turn it into an organization. So now I have a list of coaches, a pool of coaches helping out many people, both here and abroad. They help our clients do the end-to-end employability process, which is in our framework involves helping clients find clarity, right? They have to understand what they're getting themselves into, and they have to understand what kind of value they can offer, and they want to, well, they need to know why. they have to do these things. And then that's when it goes to building their resume, building their fixing their interview skills, up to being actually employed. So that's basically what we do, and the reason why I'm in this profession in the first place.
Wow, that's great to hear, Danica. So actually, you are helping these people better communicate the value they can provide for companies. Diba? And that way,
Yes.
you see, the companies can also properly assess na if this person will actually add value to my business goals as
Ye-
well. So,
yes.
based on your experience, no, I can imagine sobrang dami na ng mga na-coach mo. What is your experience with this new generation of job seekers? Perhaps they are the Generation Z or the millennial job seekers. Can you tell me more about your experience with coaching them?
Well, okay. One thing for sure, they're very different. They're very different from the generation before them. So the most common feedback I get from recruiters is that the older generation like to think that to live is to work, whereas
Mm-hmm.
the younger generation would prefer a mindset wherein they work to live. So I remember speaking to some recruiters, some HR professionals, and even my own family who are clueless of why the younger generation are thinking like this. So what I observe is the younger generation, ano kasi sila eh, parang, okay, work to live ako, so my work should supplement my life. Ganun
Mm-hmm.
sila. Ganun sila mag-isip. I'm not living to work for other reasons. It's really to supplement my life. Ganun sila mag-isip. And in fact, because of that, it influences their choices in what
Mm-hmm.
kind of employer they're going to work for.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, in a lot of cases, me being a recruiter, I've experienced an instance where the candidate didn't want to choose my client simply because they didn't share the same ideals. I don't want to say what the company was doing, but something like along the lines that the candidate said, na I don't really share the same values as them. So that particular thing is showing already that values are very important to candidates, values that
Mm-hmm.
connect to life, right? So that's what I observe. And ang pinaka nakuha kong comment sa mga tao sa older generation is, bakit yung younger generation, they treat job hunting as a shopping spree? Yun daw yung comment nila. Bakit shopping spree na? Bakit ang taas na nitong in-offer kong sweldo, hindi pa rin tinanggap? May mga ganun silang comment, or I'm willing to give everything pero iba pa rin yung pinili. What's wrong? I mean, why? So doon natin nakikita na actually these people are looking for more than just money. They're looking for more than just the monetary and material benefit they can get out of an employer. They want to know if they can thrive spiritually and also socially in an organization. So that's the biggest observation that I've seen in this market, and even other people.
Mm-hmm. Wow, so kumbaga, there's a shift in a way from the new generation of job seekers now compared to what your recruiter or from what your previous clients would usually look at.
Yeah.
Tama ba?
Yes.
So parang
Tama
there
yan.
seems to be a gap, no? So
Yes.
syempre kasi sabi nag-iiba na rin dapat yung value proposition ng company to their job seekers.
That's right. Dapat iba na yung value proposition. In fact, there have been studies that already said that companies who adopt a sustainability framework and sustainability
Mhm.
practice attract more millennials and Gen Z job seekers or talents, because
Mhm.
yun nga, Gen Z and millennials are looking for more meaningful jobs that actually provide value not just to the organization but also to the society that it helps. The thing about that is they recognize that, you know, all of this kind of work should eventually provide value somewhere. Yun yung na-realize
Mhm.
nila. What we're forgetting, I mean, as time goes by, what we're forgetting that the reason why jobs exist is to solve a problem. We're starting to forget that. The more work becomes complex, the more business operations become complex. We are forgetting that the reason why we're doing business in the first place and work in the first place is so that we can provide value to the market and to the society that we're helping. We're forgetting that ang iniisip na lang kasi palagi ng iba is that na I'm working because it earns money and it gives other people money, ganyan. But the thing is, no, we're doing all of these things to provide value. If we want to actually attract the right talents, we need to go back to the roots. Why are we doing this? Why are we working in the first place? Because we remember, that's when we actually get reminded what are our causes, what are our values,
Mm-hmm.
and who are we really helping. It goes back to
Mm-hmm.
that. And that kind of story is what millennials and Gen Z want to listen to. If in order for them to decide if they want to join you as an organization.
Mm-hmm. So that's a very good point. So parang though, are you seeing it na traditionally companies when they provide their proposition to the employees, akala nila monetary benefits lang yung gusto ng employees, but now it has to shift and
Uh,
it has to go back to why am I doing my business? What value am I providing to
yes.
society?
Yes, that's
Tama
what
ba?
in yes, that's right. That's what candidates or talents really want to know. I've experienced recruiting for some companies na they would give the world. Sin kami na magbabayad ng, I mean, yung company na yung magpa-provide ng Grab from their
Mm.
house to the recruitment hub and back to the house. Bibigyan pa ng signing bonus, magbibigay pa ng coffee, magpanood ng movie, good customer service all throughout the entire recruitment process except for some not so good experiences siguro, and then they would still end up not getting the conversion they need. Maraming ganong cases. We're forgetting that these people are the reason why we started this business. And, you know, ang na-observe ko rin dun sa mga ibang projects that I worked on is that they like to they like to adopt the traditional recruitment mindset that I don't know where we honestly got. Maybe we watched it on TV or there's a hearsay or something. There are still recruiters who like to intimidate candidates. No, so
Mm-hmm.
na parang may nabasa nga akong tweet before na there was this CEO of a company, not here in the Philippines but abroad, na really tried to test the grit of the candidate.
Mm-hmm.
Sinira-sira yung portfolio ng candidate in front of her, ganyan. And it made the candidate feel bad. Anong nangyari? Nasira yung employer branding ng company nung nag-announce yung girl na yun sa Twitter. It could hurt not only your HR processes, but also your entire brand as a company. So all
Mm-hmm.
of those things are very important. And to adopt a sustainability mindset to helping people. And I mean, hindi lang naman siya about the environment. It's also about caring for the people. And that's really what millennials and Gen Z markets look for, or the talent market looks for. Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Nikki. So, I want to dig deeper to that bit on employer branding, no? Kasi you mentioned nga, so it's not just about offering competitive packages to your prospects, but also being able to communicate na you are actually a company that values your contribution to the society and to the people. So, yun yung idea of
Mm-hmm.
sustainability. So, if you were to provide parang insights on, since ikaw yung may touch point with the career job seekers, no, how else can employees then make sustainability a part of their employer brand whenever they face these kinds of job seekers?
Employees or employers, you mean? How do employers
Employers.
improve their... Okay, okay. So, as simple as starting with the candidate experience. Merong
Mm-hmm.
tinatawag sa recruitment process na candidate experience. It has to be smooth. You will have to treat your candidates as if they're your investor, as if they're your
Mm-hmm.
client, your customer, they are a stakeholder. Right? So, wala man silang equity sa company mo, wala man silang madadala directly na money, but they have a stake in your business in one way or another. You need to take care of them. Right? Kahit candidate lang sila, kahit hindi pa sila employee, they are the first window to how the world sees you.
Mm-hmm.
Kasi kasi sila yung sila yung typically walang walang, I mean, pagka-candidate ka or pag-employee ka, you really see the worst sometimes of the employer. Of course, the employer or that company won't show it to the clients, the customers, the investors, but the employees and the candidates too. So dahil ikaw yung window, because that's the window to seeing you as a company, you need to take care of them, 'di ba?
Mm-hmm.
So candidate experience is very important. That's the first step. Now, I know there are companies who take care of candidates sa recruitment process. Candidate experience, inaalagaan nila yon. Tapos pagdating sa employment experience, iba na. Parang ang taas ng expectation, tapos unreasonable deadlines and ganyan, and a lot of bullying. I mean, I've heard stories like that from clients na maraming ganong cases. Ang ganda daw ng recruitment experience nila, tapos biglang sa employment wala na. Maybe because the recruitment department and the employee experience department had a different mindset or a different
Mhm.
philosophy, but all organizations should have the same practice all throughout for employer branding and for their sustainability practice. It has to be the same. Otherwise, witness yun or may experience yun ng employee, because the entire employee cycle should have the same experience if you really want to keep and attract more talents.
Mm.
From recruitment to the employment experience up to when they exit the company, dapat maganda yung relationship nyo sa kanila. Dapat ganon. In order to maintain your good employer branding and to maintain the sustainability practice that you have in the company. Because like I said, pag hindi maganda yung isa dyan, it will hurt your company because they're the window to your company. Oo.
May experience ka na ba na gano'n for your Filipino clients?
Marami akong nakakausap na gano'n, yung sinabi ko sa'yo na inalagaan sila sa recruitment at sa employment. Alam mo yung mga stories na ito yung sabi sa akin ng recruiter pero iba pala sa actual, yung mga ganyan. There's a misalignment there, and it can cause people to live with bad feelings, which is not really a desirable outcome. And I mean, hindi naman talaga maiiwasan yung attrition eh. Hindi naman talaga maiwasan na
Mhm.
aalis yung mga tao because it's not always because it's your problem. It's sometimes because they have different goals in life. They have different needs. No, so it's only reasonable na aalis sila kasi it's not anymore the right match. Pero for
Mm.
as long as the reason is not you as a bad employer, then you're doing a good job, right? You should you should maintain this good relationship kasi ang na-realize din ng mga Gen Z and millennials is that overall um, sustainability in employer branding is all about good relationships.
Mhm.
So, just like how you maintain good relationships with your investors, your clients, and customers, Gen Z and millennials want that. Ilang beses na tayo na nakarinig, ang toxic ng environment ko, ang toxic ng client, ang toxic ng boss ko. I hate it here. I'm leaving. That's a sign already that your employer branding is hurting, and that means you have to change your sustainability practice in the HR department. You don't want that because sometimes no, if let's assume na HR is your least priority. Pero if you do that, yung mga stories ng mga umaalis na employees or candidates who get hurt, pupunta yan sa clients mo, sa customers mo, sa investors mo. And I've seen those
Mhm.
kinds of situations already na I've had a client na um, parang umalis siya sa company na yon, and then nagkwento siya sa isang person na ito yung na-experience ko. Yun pala yung person na yun, client ng company na yun. So so it could hurt you. I mean, but aware naman yung ibang clients eh, but you don't of course you don't want them to feel too bad about you. I mean, it's natural naman. People make mistakes, organizations make mistakes. It's a costly mistake. Pero make sure it's not too damaging. Na
Mm.
it feels so deliberate, and it feels like you're being ignorant about the reality that your employees are facing. So, yun yung mga experiences ng mga people I've talked to. So, what do you think about that?
I think I agree because being part of the millennial slash Generation Z um, generation, no? So parang, kumbaga, employees now, parang we're starting to see talaga na they are as an important stakeholder of the business. Na at the start, na the relationship that you should maintain is all throughout, from all the way from recruitment to the exit of the employee. But now my question is, for traditional companies na they're still not used to this purposeful employees na gusto talaga naghahanap ng purpose within the company. What would be a good business case? Parang what would be the benefits for them na you would want to communicate na parang na this is how you can start
Mm, okay.
in.
So yung question mo is this coming from the idea na maybe they will still stay the same, that they'll
Yeah.
stay with their traditional practices?
Yeah.
Well,
So
they can
how?
try. What I observe with employers, they can try, no? They can try. If you want to stay in your traditional framework, your traditional process, no problem. But you know what will happen pag ginawa niyo yun? More often than not, you will experience a decline in your talent attraction. Yun yung
Mm,
makikita nyo. And by the time na you will actually need someone, by the time you actually need someone and wala kang makuha, that's when you'll feel like you're in trouble. So by the time na
right.
mangyari yon, yun na talaga, yun na yung ma-realize mo na, ay, kailangan ko pala mag-practice ng sustainability. I need to do change management in order to actually attract the right talent and maintain the health of my company or my business only then. Pero for now that you know that these kinds of things could happen, maybe it's time to consider, maybe change the practices, di ba?
Right. Because it's gonna hurt your costs. Kasi you're gonna have to look for a talent every time. And they're gonna be
Tama.
short-term employees lang, no?
Tama yan. Yun yung hindi nare-realize ng iba na when you keep on delaying getting a talent or getting a hire just because of your not so sustainable practices, the tendency is you will incur more cost. Yun talaga yung nangyari. Other people can't see that yet. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
because they don't see the cost in other departments. But there's a cost in that. Maybe what will happen is dahil wala ka pang na-hire agad, some people will assume the role or assume the task and then
Mm-hmm.
ma-overload sila, mawawala sila, and yung client matitira na lang sa kanya na employee who will work for them, baka isa na lang, baka yun mag-resign pa. Pag wala ng employee na mag-work for that client, you will completely lose the client. That's a major cost on your end. Mm-mm.
Right, right. So that's a really that's a challenge, but also an opportunity for these businesses to evolve. No,
That's right. Uh-oh.
given the COVID-19 pandemic, parang how are you seeing the job market landscape evolving, whether from the employer side or the job seeker side?
Mm.
Parang,
Ang observation ko, more people, I mean, this is based on the people we talk to and based on some news that I've read, more people are venturing into freelancing, to
mm-hmm,
self-employment. So there is a possibility that more people will be aware that self-employment is actually possible and could be a sustainable option. So more and more
mm-hmm,
people are noticing that. Of course, there are still people who would opt for employment, but a lot of people decided that they could do self-employment. Now,
mm-hmm,
kwento ko lang, there was this time while I was recruiting, maraming nagjo-joke sa internet na parang, oh, mga recruiter, abangan nyo na yung mga tanong nila na, what did your company do in the face of COVID-19? Yung mga ganun, what did your company do for its employees in the face of COVID-19? And I was like, nobody's gonna ask that. During that time, iniisip ko, nobody's gonna ask that. Then, mga a few days later, about three people asked me that question as a recruiter. So, these kinds of things, they can really dare to ask those things. They will actually feel na this time na it's not about the money all the time. What they
mm-hmm,
will feel like is, how will everything you're offering me contribute to my life? Kasi they're not
mm-hmm,
looking at just the money this time. It's the entire experience. It's the entire nourishment in their life. That's how they see it. And I think na vamp up siya because they see na COVID, it's happening now. How else are we gonna tell kung buhay pa ba tayo tomorrow or the next day? Marami na silang ganong philosophies. So
mm-hmm,
now that they have those philosophies, they're feeling like, I should be more wise in my decisions. I should feel like my life is worth living na. So ganun na sila
mm-hmm,
mag-isip. And I thought na only a few people thought about that. But the more we talk to people who have that kind of mindset, the more we see na employers need to adjust. Kasi the thing
mm-hmm,
about adjusting kasi is that nobody's gonna adjust until they feel like there's a need. Now, that's what the candidate market
mm-hmm,
feels now. There is a need to finally adjust to that mindset. Now, if employers want to attract this talent, they need to adjust too, or else walang mananalo. And more often than not, sila yung hindi mananalo. So employer side naman, I'm seeing that a lot of people are adopting change management. It's a necessity these days. Change management, it's a very textbook word, but it's time that we actually use it. And sustainability as a practice needs to be developed inside the company, because at the end of the day, these people, these candidates, these talents already know that they want to work for a company that provides value to society, not just for the money. The value to them is not just money, it's also
Mm-hmm.
relationships, helping people in need, helping people who are inconvenienced, helping people who feel lost. Those kinds of value propositions, yun na yung hinahanap ng talent market. And that's the thing that I see. Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for summarizing that very well. So, kumbaga, sustainability should now be part of the change management of the HR practices,
Yes.
essentially, for the employer side.
Yes.
So, we just have a
Yes.
question from Catherine. So, with the work from home or digital setup that the pandemic has pushed us all to, are the Gen Zs or millennials at an advantage compared to the older generations as they are digital natives? What have you observed? So, dito naman sa job seeker side, no, sa market side.
Yes, na-observe ko ang laki ng advantage ng mga millennials and Gen Z ngayon that everything's digital because we're digital natives. So, napansin ko, I mean, I remember this conversation I had with someone. Sabi nila, dati, yung tita ko, sinasabihan ako, kaka-Facebook mo, baka mamaya ano ka, ganyan. Ngayon, that tita probably and all of her friends are having a hard time thriving in the job market because they refuse to learn about digital tools. Now
Mm-hmm.
the younger generation are thriving. They actually, because of all of these digital tools and the work from home setup and the accessibility of more opportunities, mas nakikita ko na nagtathrive yung younger generation, especially because they know how to use all of these opportunities and tools. For example,
Mm-hmm.
I've listened to a lot of my clients who said they started earning income abroad. No, kung dati kailangan mo pa mag-travel abroad para kumita ng dolyar, ngayon pwede ka nang kumuha nun in the Philippines. Why? Because of digitalization of everything. Because yung pera mo pwede na lang idaan sa PayPal or something. It's more easy right now. So, with that, for as long as the younger generation continues to learn about all of these digital tools, they will thrive in the job market.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. So, at the same time, this is also an opportunity for businesses na who haven't really adopted to the digital arena, no? Na they should
Yes.
also catch up.
That's right. I mean, ilang beses na tayo nakarinig na the world is evolving. The world is always evolving, and whatever practices you have right now, it might not be relevant soon. So might as
Mm-hmm.
well keep on upskilling, reskilling, and adopting more practices that could work out in the company. Otherwise, mapag-iwanan ka, and the consequences na mapag-iwanan ka could lower the quality of life of the people involved in that organization.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, as a final question, no, so this is more since while we are in the millennial generation Z discussion, of course, at the end of the day, the workforce is always a mix of different generations. So, how do you think? Kasi given nga na possible na for the older generations, this could be a threat also, na parang a risk for their own employment. So,
Yes,
how do
yes.
we maintain this delicate balance between the digital natives and the non-digital natives na parang how can we foster mutual parang benefit of
Yes, yes.
providing value to each other's wisdom.
Yes, good question. Ang dami ng mga opportunities in the market that allow non-digital natives to thrive. So, marami ng, for example, webinar where they could learn,
Mhm.
manood lang sila and they learn. Marami na ring tools online na kung hindi ka marunong, for example, mag-code, madali na para sa'yo. For as long as you know how to do end-to-end processing of operations, pwede mo na siya magamit. Meron nga ang something that I'm fascinated about lately. Kasi I mean, I'm a digital native but I'm not too advanced, no? Hindi ako marunong mag-code, for example. And then for the life of me, akala ko hindi ako marunong mag-code and never ako matututong mag-develop ng website or ng advanced website until I learned that there's this thing called no code and low code platforms, yung ganyan. So when I learned about that, I realized na wow, professionals and experts are actually doing something to make these kinds of outputs more accessible to people who are not as talented. So marami ng opportunities to do that. Meron ding mga NGOs, for example, they just invite people to a room and then teach them these kinds of digital tools for them to learn for free. Meron ng mga
Right.
governments and mga foundations who are offering money just to make this happen, because actually the thing is, hindi naman nakakatuwa talaga if only one group is thriving. Everybody should thrive, because if there's group not thriving, nakakababa din siya ng overall quality of life of the society. So the point of sustainability in the first place, of sustainable practices, is to help improve the quality of life of our society. Yun
Mm-hmm.
yung pinaka end goal eh. I mean, if you just forget all of those complexities, the end goal of doing business, lalo na if you remember that it has to be a sustainable practice, is that, we're doing all of this to solve problems. Why do we need to solve problems? Because solving problems help improve the quality of life. So in order to help improve the quality of life, let's solve the problems of these older generations. Let's teach them. Let's teach them how to do these things. And in doing that, we're all happy, we're all thriving, no problems at all. And, continued na yung good quality of life natin.
Right. Thank you, Nikki. I liked how simply you put it. No, at the end of the day, sustainability is really helping improve our life as a society. Kasi at the end of the day, di ba, we solve
Yes.
problems nga to make sure na we, after all that we do as a business, did we do good for the society?
Yes.
Great.
Yes,
So,
that's
any
right. I mean,
final last
this is the entire
words?
point. Final last words. I guess I'm okay now. I'm happy I was able to share this, And honestly, I think all of these things we already know by heart, but it needs to be reminded. No, people need to be reminded about these things. I mean, ang daming complexities in the world that we tend to forget the real reason why we do these things. And I hope this talk we're having right now is helping people remember our values, our reason for doing all of this, and who are we actually helping.
Great. Thank you so much, Danica. So, before we end, perhaps you could share about an upcoming career fair that you are actually launching for next week.
Yes. Good that you mentioned that. Next week, we're having the Virtual Career Academy Summit. So it's a job slash career fair for students, fresh graduates, and young professionals. It helps them have that actual end to end employability and employment experience for free. Now, we did this event because it's usually costly for people, but we decided to make it more accessible to people by offering these coaching services for free, the end-to-end employability experience, up to actually landing a job in the end. So that's the kind of opportunity we're providing. At the end of the day, all of these solutions are meant to solve problems. That's what we're trying to do here. So if you're the kind of person who needs these solutions, I really invite you to attend this event. Now, if you can't really watch all of the webinars or attend all the activities, no problem. There are recordings. And if you really want to experience free coaching from us, I invite you as well to the September run, because we're partnering with Sustainable PH and SSP.
Thank you, Nikki. So, ang galing. So, thank you for bridging the gap between the job seekers and the recruiters through free coaching sessions. Wow. So, if you are a fresh grad o kaya graduating student, no, they can join this career summit, the career virtual career fair for free. So, check out the links na lang sa comment box. So, with that, thank you so much, Nikki, for your insights. I really
Thank you
enjoyed
so
our talk
much.
tonight. So,
Same here.
um, i-off ka muna ng cam ng ating tech. Okay, so thank you so much for that again to Nikki, to our special guest. So again, if you would like to be part of the career fair that they are launching, so just visit their website. And then, so with that, we end our episode for tonight. If you would like to be part of our community of sustainability practitioners, join our group by applying using the link bit.ly/SSP registration form. So at the end of our episode tonight, so later on, you can stay tuned as well at 8 p.m. So in case you missed it, we have the sustainable lifestyle with Ellen and Andrea when they interviewed modern day farmer and CEO of Uma Farms, Mr. Jai Ferrer. So again, this is Mai. Thank you for tuning in to Sustainabuzz. See you at our next episode.
I envision a sustainable Philippines? Well, I think it all starts with a more conscious citizenry, where people are more conscious about how they eat, how they buy, and how nothing should go to waste. I think when we start with a mindset like that, then we can have a more sustainable Philippines.
A sustainable Philippines is our beloved country flourishing as God intended it to be. Its people are happy, content, progressive, and conscious of their responsibility as good citizens and consumers. Industries protect and respect their workers, as workers protect and respect their employers. Our natural resources are not abused by industry. Instead, they are used wisely and thoughtfully, and even protected so that future generations may have the benefit of enjoying an environment that is hospitable, healthy, lush, verdant, and vibrant, with the flora and fauna that will set it apart from other Asian countries.
A country where individuals and organizations make intentional, responsible consumption and production every single time, where all cities are sustainable and communities meet their own goals without compromising future generations to meet their own needs.
I hope and envision for a sustainable community, whereas people of our country share a common purpose, and that is to acknowledge our future without reducing the resources that maintain them. Let us continue to promote, educate, and share with everyone how to better understand and embrace a sustainable living.
I hope for a sustainable Philippines wherein everybody has jobs, there is no poverty, we have responsible government, there is clean environment, and everybody believes in God.
A sustainable Philippines is grounded on life-focused, Bible-centric values that transcends the future generations.
A sustainable Philippines fosters development through human perspective in rights reform, greener environmental considerations, agribusiness partnerships, and strengthens to empower the integrated ecosystem, making impact to the people.
Hello. I envision a sustainable Philippines where we have a clean environment, not only outdoors or in our cities, but also in our workplaces.
I'm Gabby Avante, a biology sophomore from DLSC Manila, and I envision a Philippines that is aware, educated, and willing to take action to pursue a sustainable society for all.